Monster Hunter's coming to the Switch. Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, elephants and squirrels, this is DJ Raviesta here on Rhinos Inc. Gaming, and today we are talking about Monster Hunter that happened in that partner showcase today. If you want to get my impressions of the entire direct, that's going to be coming a bit later on today. But for now, we're going to be talking just Monster Hunter. And today with me, I've got my buddy Ben, Gamikan, I've got my buddy Taylor, and we're going to chat about Monster Hunter. These two guys are very much well acquainted with the series, and I'm glad to have you guys here to talk about this ish. So let's get into it. So what were you guys' impressions? Ben, you first, man. What's up?
Yeah, you woke me up this morning and I was just dead asleep. I'm still dead asleep. And I was what's he talking about? And he's like, have you seen the direct? And I'm like, no. And he's like, watch it. I'm like, okay. So I go on, I'm like, Monster Hunter for Smash, Monster Hunter for Smash, Monster Hunter for Smash. Please. But no, I watched the first thing and I'm thinking back in my mind, I'm like, is this Monster Hunter? And then I'm seeing the dog, and I'm like, this is Monster Hunter. And then I'm thinking oh, what's that white fox game that you run around? Or wolf?
Okami?
I think you're thinking of Okami.
Yeah,
Okami. I'm thinking that, and I'm is this a new type of thing like that? But later on, it just kept on running, and then it got to the dude, and I'm looking at the dude, and I'm like, that's not Rakuga armor right there. I could tell. And then right when the Palico jumps out, and I'm okay, it's Monster Hunter. And yeah, and I'm wondering what type of game it is because of how it's titled and how it even looked, because I was is this Monster Hunter Stories? Is this a new adventure that you're not just going after monsters, you're actually platforming to places and stuff, and Legend of Zelda-ing it, and yeah, just so then kind of look more Monster Hunter, just battling stuff, but yeah, it's Monster Hunter Rise. I'm
yeah,
that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, it was. I pretty much had the same freaking reaction when that came up on screen, because one, just going into this direct, we kind of heard the rumors of a new Monster Hunter game was going to be announced for Switch soon. That was one of the things going around the internet.
I didn't know.
I don't know. That is perfectly fine. You were able to go in without any sort of influence. But I was going into that direct with that idea and thinking, all right, well, we might see something from Capcom. That should be interesting. And then when it starts, I'm I know this style of gameplay. I know this aesthetic. It looks like Monster Hunter. So I'm is this it? Are we going to see this? And then I see the I think what they're called, canines? Yeah, the little canine thing, running, and I'm is this Monster Hunter? Maybe I'm off. And then it just keeps going a bit more, and I see these little things on the side as it's running, these other monsters standing around while it's running through, and I'm yeah, this is it. This is Monster Hunter. I'm ready. And yeah, Monster Hunter Rise, I'm hyped, man. I am ready. I am ready to play this game. And
Similar to Ben, I woke up to a flurry of text messages from friends. Just my phone was dinging off the wall. And I take a look, and the first thing I see is Monster Hunter Stories 2. And I immediately felt disappointment, because I'm are they really just releasing a spin-off? But then I got up, took a further look into it, and actually saw the Monster Hunter Rise trailer, and I'm oh no, this is a full-fledged Monster Hunter game. And I was really excited from the moment I saw that. Once the gameplay started and the monsters started appearing on screen, I was really excited for that.
Yeah, same.
I wasn't really recognizing the monsters because it's been a while since I played it, and I didn't get much into X Generations. But yeah, it was definitely because I noticed the armor, and then obviously Palico is just like, okay, yeah, this is Monster Hunter. But yeah, like then they went on to the second trailer, and I'm like, because I still don't know like all the information that you guys did, and I'm like, oh, is this? And I'm like, still look at it, and then like in my back of my mind, still saying like stories, stories, stories. But I'm like, just kind of still continuously watching it, and I'm just like, I don't know, like I wasn't getting any impressions of what type of game it was, and then until like they talked about the Rathless, I'm like, okay, it's stories. And I didn't know if it was stories 2 or not, because I'm not like I haven't really dived in too much of the Monster Hunter story games. I
Right.
tried to download on my phone, but I didn't get super far. I just never have time to play as much as I did before. But yeah, I was like, oh, cool. They have 2 Monster Hunter games coming out, and I was just like, Smash, please.
But
Just give me that.
like it was pretty like, yeah, the Monster Hunter Stories 2 I think it was called not Rise, Wings of Ruin? Wings of Ruin, that's it. That's what it is. Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, this, like, from the aesthetic and just how the game looked, I was like, oh, this is definitely Monster Hunter Stories 2. Like, it has to be. And honestly, like, I've never played Monster Hunter Stories, so I don't actually have any impression of it, good or bad. But from what I saw in the trailer, it looked interesting enough to just be like, hey, I might pick that up just cuz, and it seems like a pretty cool story. And I've heard good things about stories. Like, I've actually heard pretty nice things about it. And maybe I might pick up 2 just cuz. Like, just maybe.
Yeah, I
So
think I have stories on my iPhone, which I don't really use anymore, and I think I need to be connected to the internet to use it, which is kind of annoying since I bought it. But yeah, I always think about just going back over there and just playing it. But it's like a turn-based game. It's not like Monster
Right.
Hunter game. It's turn-based.
so Revan, um, we actually haven't even talked about the trailer yet. So let me ask you, what was the moment that got you extremely excited? Like this screen that you saw and you went, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing.
I think, that's actually gonna be pretty difficult. That's actually honestly a difficult one because I was really
I can tell
excited.
you mine first if you like.
Go ahead. I need some time to think.
So yeah, I saw the crane monster. They showed it off, and I wrote its name down somewhere. Aknasum.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that monster, and immediately I got really excited because Monster Hunter series is kind of known for having a lot of dinosaurs and dragons, and not really a lot of other animal types. We got a couple,
Yeah.
but whenever I see a monster that isn't a reptile, I automatically get really excited because that shows that their creative juices are really flowing with this game. And that's not the only non-reptilian monster we have. We also had a small, like, really quick scene of some kind of spider-like monster in the trailer.
Oh.
So it's really exciting me that we're probably going to get a lot of cool new enemy types in this title.
Oh yeah.
I remember
that should be
before there was
interesting.
a spider-type monster.
Yeah, there was Nursilla.
Yes. That's the
Yeah,
one.
yeah, I never really got to play that much. But yeah, it's like I like when they differ from wyverns, like which is the first game. It was like literally just dinosaurs and wyverns and dragons, elder dragons. Because I think in 2, that's when they started throwing in like different type of monsters, like the congolas and the the monkey types. Let me see. There's the one monster that like doesn't seem like a dragon, but I guess it kind of considers being the elder dragon is the Karen. That was in Monster Hunter 1,
Oh yeah.
and trying to hit the one spot on the Karen, it was very difficult back in the day, just being by myself. But yeah, it was just lightning everywhere. it was a very difficult thing for me when I first played Monster Hunter. But yeah, like I do like that they're trying to go away from like besides the wyverns, dragons, and stuff, that they're trying to go for like other subspecies like monkeys, spiders, giraffes, elephants, horses, like dogs, cats, snakes, just anything, and it's yeah, like helps keep variety flowing, and like you're not just doing the exact same thing with the same type of monsters. You're like, okay, I can't do this with this type of monster because it won't allow me. Like it has a different setup. So
Yeah, it keeps
yeah,
things
like I
interesting.
do like that. It's
Yeah.
like spiders, like it's scary, and also they're not always on the ground. They're up in the like ceiling, and you're like, huh, this is new. Like this is a new thing I have to do. Probably should probably get like a um short bow or bow and arrow to deal with this thing, because it's mostly going to be up in the air. That's what I had to deal with the this one monster which liked to be in the water back in the first one. They just stayed in the water. It's called Plethos,
The
something
Plesioth?
Plethioth, and
Yeah. I
it
hate
just
that thing.
loved to be in the water. The only way to get out of the water was the frog, and it was just difficult. And it was still even difficult being on the land too.
Oh yeah.
So like
Oh yeah. I
I would
remember
like to
those days.
use long range. Yeah, I like to use long range on it, even though it has like like almost a hydro pump to like spray at you. It was like, yeah, it was difficult, very
Yeah.
difficult.
Like I remember back in the day, Monster Hunter Tri, and like going online and fighting a Plesioth. I'm so glad that there were times where I was like with some really skilled hunters and we would just know how to mess with it and just be like, all right, throw this trap here. Make sure you get your frog. We're keeping it on the land. It's not allowed to get back in the water because we say so.
Hmm.
And that was nice when that
Hmm.
happened. But other times, if that was not the case, then we're gonna have an issue. And underwater fighting was pretty annoying back in the day. Not gonna
Well,
lie.
Hmm.
that's a really good segue. Do you guys think we're gonna get underwater fighting again in this game?
Ooh. That's a hard tell. That's a really hard one to tell,
It,
especially
it's
with what they gave in the trailer.
it's been quite a while, and yeah, there's no real way to predict it right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to experiment with it again, especially because they have the new lightning bug or whatever they called it
The wire bug?
in the trailer. And that bug basically lets you kind of like grapple onto midair and like move really quickly.
Yeah.
So it could be
Oh yeah,
perfect.
that thing reminded me of Monster Hunter Worlds with the grappling hook that you have.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Cause like the inclusion of this new wire bug thing, like this really is going to change how battles are going to work. Like they even showed it in the 15-minute direct after the presentation, like the actual partner showcase. They talked about how you can use the wire bug to like do combos and whatnot, like aerial combos, which is going to be really interesting. And honestly, people are going to be looking really stylish and really cool with their attacks with something like this. So I can't wait to actually get my hands on that and play with it.
Yeah, from my impressions, you guys haven't played Monster Hunter Iceborne. I think I'm the only one who has.
I
And
played just a little. I have it. I just
oh,
haven't
okay.
that much. I know you can use the grappling hook now to grab onto their like parts of the bodies and just wail
Yeah,
at it.
that's one of the new things Iceborne did. Basically, letting you clutch onto the monster and like do attacks while like grappled onto it. And
Mhm.
when I saw this, I kind of saw the clutch claw, but kind of like a light version, a very quick version. But
Mhm.
on rewatching the trailer, I don't think at any point the hunter actually clinged onto the monster, making me think that this is going to feel a bit more different than the clutch claw in that game.
Right.
Yeah, like it looked a little bit more lighter type, like it just but more quicker. It seemed like it's just like almost like Spider-Man, where it's just like I'm gonna go over here and swing myself over there.
Yeah, so like
Not
mostly for
mostly
movement.
go onto the monster. Because I think with a monster and Monster Hunter World, you can't just clean yourself, I think you have to like weaken it. I believe it's been a while since I played it, but you have to kind of get to some point where you're allowed to go on the monster because you can't just spam it because that'd just be OP.
Actually, yeah, you pretty much do just that. Clutch Claw and Iceborne is pretty busted. Like the monster can shake you off of it, so you have to time your Clutch Claw to where the monster has an opening.
Yeah, timing, that's my goal.
So you can't completely spam it, but I'm very curious because the design philosophy seems to be brought over to Monster Hunter Rise with the I keep forgetting the name. The wire bug, is that it?
Yeah, wire bug, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It seems to be that this is going to be kind of a combination of Clutch Claw and Hunter Arts. For the viewers who don't know, Hunter Arts are something that appeared in the previous Monster Hunter on Switch, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. It kind of gave your hunters extra bonuses in the hunt. And I do believe that they confirmed that there are going to be different types of wire bugs that you could bring on a hunt, meaning that this might be their substitute for Hunter Arts in this game as well.
I never really liked the way Hunter Arts was because like you always had it when you switch a weapon, you always have to re-equip it, and I'm like, why can't I just have it on this weapon?
Yeah. Hunter Arts is kind of a mixed bag to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm old school classic. Like I'm just like I play with just my weapon and that's it. I didn't have all these fancy moves. I just have more tactics.
The beautiful thing. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I only have my tactics, but you go on.
The beautiful thing about Generations Ultimate was that the Hunter Arts, you didn't even need to use them if you didn't want to. The hunts were just fine if you didn't bring any of them. The controversial part about Monster Hunter World Iceborne is you really did need to use the Clutch Claw because they gave the monsters so many buffs that the hunt took much longer if you weren't clutching on and wounding the monster. And that's something I really hope that they changed in Monster Hunter Rise so that we could kind of go back to having the wire bug being this optional thing as opposed to this mandatory, you really need to bring this on every hunt thing.
And based on the fact that that you mentioned there are going to be different types of wire bugs, I kind of think they're going to make it so that it is relatively optional. It's like, okay, you can, well, this is just me assuming, of course, but like there maybe if they don't make it optional, it might be where like you have to use a particular wire bug for like a specific monster, which, you know, for some people, you know, they might not necessarily like that. But the point I was trying to make before, which was, you know, since we're having so many types of wire bugs potentially, that might make it so like people will have versatility with their playstyle and they don't necessarily have to run with just one type. Like they could say like, oh, I'm going to use the basic type and just use that for my regular movement, so on and so forth, or I might use the heavy type. I'm just making up something right now. I'm going to use the heavy type that will slam into monsters and pull me across slowly, something like that. And you get to really just modify your own play style with it.
Monster Hunter, the series, is really good at allowing for customizing your playstyle to be exactly how you want it to be. So I'm certain that the developers are thinking about that every step of the way. I'm really excited to see what they come up with.
Absolutely. And so to kind of bring back a point that you'd asked me earlier, Taylor, about what part of the trailer I was almost enamored by or really liked. I think it was when I saw the wire bug. I think that's what it was, because it's like, oh, mobility, I like this. And I just wanted to see how, you know, we could potentially use it. And, you know, after getting a bit more with the trailer and, you know, seeing the direct afterwards, it really gave me a good impression of like, okay, I'm going to like this. And also
it reminded me of Monster Hunter 4 when I first saw that. Mobility.
Yeah, that's one thing I really like about Monster Hunter, like how it's grown over the years. We get more ways to move around the map, we get more ways of fighting essentially, and I just really like that about the series. And And another thing I wanted to talk about, which was this is different for, you know, a Nintendo Monster Hunter game, is we have voice acting in it now. Like we've seen voice acting in Monster Hunter World, but we're now getting this for a Monster Hunter on Switch on Nintendo on a Nintendo system. So like, do you guys have any impressions of that? Like any opinions on that itself? Welcome it, not welcome it? Like, what did you guys think of like
I've
Monster Hunter World and their voice acting?
Yeah, like the voice acting in Monster Hunter World, like I got used to that, but it was mostly like the people talking, like your sorry, the people like pretty much helping you whenever like they bink in and they're just talking. They're like coming and stuff, but sometimes it would just be text, and I don't know if like you could, I forgot if they actually spoke or not, but yeah, it was didn't feel like your character actually had anything to say. This one, it kind of actually seems like the character is a character who has like thoughts and ideas of his own or her own to like say like, and I don't know, like maybe it was just like how they edited it, but when they're just like chasing a monster, one of them was like over there, so they're like actually talking while they're hunting, and I found that like very like immersive, just like being able to like, okay, I'm actually with other hunters and we're fighting this. Oh, and like I'm not sure if it's like actually multiplayer hunting like other hunters, or it's actually single player and you're actually playing with AI hunters, which would be cool because back like how I'm saying back in the day, I was by myself, I had no friends to play with. Like somebody told me to buy Monster Hunter, and I bought Monster Hunter, but they had Monster Hunter 2. I was like, oh, so I can't just go and buy another game because I'm a kid with like very little money. So yeah, I ended up just by myself playing Monster Hunter, and it was rough, but it would be nice that they actually bring in more, like other hunters, and I know they were starting to like throw in like calicos and the other little dudes that they kind of like the chocolakas or whatever they're called. Chocolakas. They had very different names.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, then they started like bringing out like you could have like it was Unite where you have one cat, Palco, and then it was Try Ultimate or yeah, was it Try Ultimate that they had two chocolatas?
Yeah, that
And
was the
then
one back on the Wii U. Yeah.
yeah, back in World they still gave you just the one Palco, but they kind of beefed up the Palco, because in Unite they weren't as great, but now they seem a little bit more beefy and stuff. And then now in Generations they like literally like you can become the Palco. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, be more, and they gave you two Palcos too. But yeah, it'd be more interesting. They allow you to hunt with AI hunters, and then they actually have their own dialogue, and they're actually talking to you, giving you ideas, coming up with plans, kind of connecting with certain characters, because I only connect with characters as being like task givers, but I would never really remember their name. I would just like remember what they look like, but it's just like they're only NPCs to me. It'd be nice to actually have engaging characters to be with. Because in the World they kind of like, since they talk now and are a little bit more expressive, like I can connect a little bit better. Like I love the two Matt Mercer plays voices in Monster Hunter World. Not remember their name, but one of them reminds me of back of the Monster Hunter Unite opening with the Rathian armor set. Like he's I think in there, but yeah, it's like it's a little bit more like okay, I'm familiar with these people, like I can understand what them, but you're never actually going on hunts with them, and you're able to like actually go on hunts and seeing how they go about everything. It'd probably be more relatable, and you probably have better connections.
Oh
And
yeah,
if something
absolutely.
happens where like they accidentally get hurt by other monster, or like they die because of another monster, because that could be a thing. Yeah, it'd be more like emotional and like make me feel like I'm more invested.
Exactly. You get more of a connection to that hunter, because like you're able to talk with them technically in the game, and you get to hear them speak to you, and like how they feel about certain things. They have character to them, and that could really just lend itself to who they are, as well as like your experience with them in the game. And that's something I've always really wanted to have with a Monster Hunter game, because like I remember back in Monster Hunter Tri, when I first played that back on the Wii, I thought, okay, this is really cool looking, but there isn't really any meaningful dialogue. I mean, the text, like the way it was written, hilarious, amazing, fun. But if there was actually, if there were voices to those characters, I feel like I could have been a bit more invested in the story, or the semblance of a story that they had. It was very basic. It was, go fight monster, it's hurting village, you beat monster, hooray! That's pretty much what it was.
I would really skip those like things, descriptions. I'd just be like, I'm gonna go fight a Rathalos. I'm gonna just fight a Fatalist and not know why. Just the monster. Like I had no connection to the story whatsoever.
Right. And I think like maybe less people would skip stuff like that if there is a bit of voice acting to it. If there's, a way to really connect with who's there and whatnot. But Taylor, didn't get to hear your impressions on voice acting in the game and what you think about Worlds, as well as, the inclusion of it for the first time on a Nintendo system.
So I'm very mixed on voice acting in Monster Hunter. On the one hand, it's fine. It's not like the voice acting is bad or anything. But I did find when I played World, I played quite a few hours of it. There are some hunts where there are characters that are constantly chiming in and talking, and they just don't shut up. Like the whole hunt, they just keep talking, and every time you do the hunt, even on your second, third, 10th, 50th time, they still have the same conversation with you. It's more of a mechanical problem rather than a voice acting problem. Really, I'm more so concerned that I could play these hunts quiet if I choose to. I'm not really too big of a fan of characters constantly chit-chatting while I'm fighting, and I really just hope that there's an option to turn it off.
That would be nice, yeah.
I think the problem is that, because I do agree with, like, it was getting quite annoying. They were conversating you, and you're just, like, too busy just finding this monster in front of you to think what they're saying. It's just, like, they're not there. They're not, like, so they're, like, having the free time to just talk and chat while, like, yeah, you're hunting. So if they were, like, there also, I'm pretty sure they won't be as talking as much, or, like, saying, like, just chit-chatting like normal people. It's just feel like maybe they actually have a reason to say something, like actually say something important than chit-chatting. That's what I'm, like, really hoping for.
Yeah.
Because
that would be
it was
nice.
very getting annoying with, like, your dispatch or whatever girl. It was just like blah 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 blah, and like, I'm dying here, woman. Do you not see? I can't concentrate on what you're saying.
Like, that actually brings this into mind. Like, what if they used voice acting in a way where it's like they kind of do shoutouts for things that you really need to pay attention to, like, oh, it looks like it's on its last leg. Like, that might be something they might say for the monster might be ready to be knocked down or something, or maybe in the case of, I don't know, this might be really deep. This is something that just came to my mind. Like, imagine if you could customize, like, if they have AI hunters with you, right? Imagine if you could customize their armor sets and everything and give them different abilities that, that you as a hunter could have as well. So, for example, say someone has, I forgot what it's called, Capture Guru, where, it helps you to see when the monster's ready to be captured. Like, imagine if they had that on, your AI partner, and they have voice acting in the game, and when Capture Guru kicks in, you could have that AI character start saying, hey, the monster's ready to be captured, I think we should set a trap, or something like that, right? Like, imagine if they did that kind of thing. That would really lend itself to the battle in general, because it's not just dialogue for the sake of dialogue. It is dialogue for helping the player accomplish a goal. So I would really like to see something like that. That's just me, spitballing an idea. But if they have that, that would be awesome.
No, you bring up a good point, is that in the case of AI hunters, which I don't know if they're confirmed to be AI hunters in this game, we gotta wait and see.
Right.
But voice acting would really help out in that case, so that you could kind of know what your party members are doing on the hunt. It's kind of important for communication. But when it comes to like playing multiplayer, I just hope that the characters at least have the option to be silent, so that I don't hear like a bunch of pitter patter and attack names being yelled out. I find it kind of annoying. One thing I do hope they bring back is the Monster Hunter language from World. Basically, in Monster Hunter, there's an entire made-up language that they just created for the game. And they actually had voice actors just redub everything in gibberish. And it's pretty charming.
That's
and
awesome.
I hope that makes a return so that people could choose to just have gibberish if they so choose.
That
It's like Simlonian or
like Simlish,
Sims
yeah.
language.
Like
Yeah,
that is
Simlish.
that is
Kind of like Simlish.
that is pretty cool, honestly, because I really like that about certain games where they can, if they make their own language for the world that they're in, it of course lends itself to the immersion of it. But for me, I just like that kind of thing because it's like, oh, I could learn this and maybe speak it and be that weirdo in the corner over there. But I actually I would like to see something like that make a return. That'd be awesome.
So there is a topic I want to talk about. One of the big new additions in this game are the Palamutes, which are like the dogs that you
Yes.
see your hunters riding in the trailer.
Mhm.
And they are the counterparts of the Palicos, which are the cats that have been staples of the series.
Right.
And I was wondering what you guys thought of the Palamutes conceptually and how they were integrated into the game, based off of what we've seen so far anyway.
They seem interesting
I
to
feel-
say, like... No, go ahead, Ben.
I was saying, like, when I saw that and how he rides them, it definitely reminds me of Monster Hunter World's Iceborne, where they were trying to, like, get you to, like, ride beasts like that. And I think it's just, like, the idea of, like, being able to ride a beast was, like... ever since I played the first one, I was just like, that'd be cool if I got to ride, like, a Umpre or Velcro-Prey, the raptors in the first games, or like being able to ride a Rathlos, which then like stores them like, oh, there it is, you get to ride a Rathlos, kind of like a small Rathlos. But yeah, it'd be interesting how they're like now, like it seems like it's probably going to be more freedom rather than like hop onto this taxi type monster and it'll take you to a certain destination. It seems probably more like you're actually having a beast that you can ride and get to places faster. And I'm wondering, also now thinking, like, are the worlds going to be bigger? I'm just wondering how the worlds are going to be, like what type of world it's going to be. Like, is it just one big world, or is it just going to be multiple maps that are big, or is it going to be like world where it's just like this one big crazy map that you can just like travel around, maybe?
Yeah, that's something to think about. Like, I do remember they did mention that there is essentially going to be no loading screens in between parts of maps. I'm not sure if they have multiple maps that are just, like, of course, different areas, like a volcano area, a frigid area, something like that, and those respective maps would be all one seamless thing, or do they have it where it's like all of those types of maps, those different types of areas, are bunched together in one single big, wide open area where you can travel in between all of them. They'd probably give a bit more information on that, so I look forward to hearing about that. But in regards to the Palamutes, those seem pretty cool, especially for the fact that you can ride these and you don't lose any stamina, of course. You can just keep riding them, and you can also use items, certain items when you're on top of them. Like, you can heal, you can regenerate your stamina if you want, and that's pretty cool. Like, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, my opinions on the Palamutes is conceptually, I think they are a great addition. Pretty much they're the same as the Palico ride feature from Monster Hunter World Iceborne. except now just as a companion you can bring and ride and control whenever you want. My only concern with them is they seem busted gameplay-wise. Like,
due to how mobile they get.
Basically, you could choose to bring a Palamute or Palico. During single player, you could bring one of each if you wish, but during multiplayer, you're confined to bringing only one. And I think that the Palamute is just overall better in every way, off of what I've seen, given that you could just ride all over the map. So
I feel like though, like they might balance that because like I still love my felines. I'm more a cat person. Like I love dogs. It's just like for the Palico, like the felines, I think they probably will have a other like able to do ability than the dogs because it seems like the dogs they're good at like riding maybe and they might attack, but Palicos are probably able to like they're able to stay on their 2 hind feet and also use their like hands, so they're probably able to do other moves like use items and be more support based.
Yeah, and based off of what they were saying in the direct, that is pretty much going to be the case, where we've got the Palamutes, and they're going to be the attack-based, mobility kind of companion, while the felines are going to be primarily support. So, like, they'll definitely have their utilizations. It's just a matter of how they go about, how they go about the utility of them.
Yeah, I think my gripe is having such a freeing and open mechanic, kind of being locked to one type of partner you could bring. It's understandable because you can't ride cats. That's just a fact.
Right.
That's good.
But, well, I mean, if they were tigers, maybe, but in this case, like, it seemed from the trailer that they were really promoting these Palamutes as the primary transportation on the map. If you don't bring one, like, you're not able to like walk up cliffs. There might be other things that they kind of do. So it seems like the developers are kind of saying that this is like mandatory. You should really bring this Palamute. There'll probably be some cases where you don't need to, probably in like arena quests and like, or quests where you kind of know where the monster is already.
Yeah.
And you go right to it. But it might be situational. I just hope that they give the Palicos a lot of beefy stuff to kind of counteract not being able to ride all over the place.
Like, I feel like they might be able to do certain things, like how you're saying, like climb out the cliff. I'm pretty sure they have a trampoline that they can probably throw down and just like have you just jump up there. Because Palicos, they're very handy. Like I feel like support's better than attack all the time. Evan knows this. I'm always support usually. Like if there needs to be support, and hunting horns are also the very important weapon to have along with the party. But yeah, like they might have like a whole new arsenal for the Palicos. Like, they might have like maybe potions that they like give you to like run faster or climb things faster, or like just use their food to do that, or like have like like the feline cannons and stuff to like take down like probably chunks off of monsters and stuff. Like I don't know, like we'll see, but I'm pretty sure like the Palicos, they're not gonna like let dogs beat them to like. They're the first there. They're not gonna like have dogs overrun their like.
Not gonna have the dogs show them up. But yeah,
so, like, it really is something we gotta talk about. Like, how do you guys feel about the art style overall for this game? Like, I'm a pretty artsy person, and that's one of the first things I noticed is how bright and vibrant this game is.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys see anything noticeable or striking in regards to designs and stuff?
I think
I like the Japanese design of it, like or the old.
Yeah, like I saw that and I thought that was really cool. I thought probably the best little touch that I noticed is the food in this game is gonna be mochi. you could see the Palicos pounding the mochi in the background.
That was pretty interesting. Yeah.
It reminded me of Monster Hunter Portable Third, where it kind of got more into the Japanese style of design, rather than just like suit and armor and stuff.
Right. Like it's looking good, honestly. I'm really liking the art style. To me it kind of reminds me a little bit of World in a way. Just slightly based off of from just looking at the character designs to a certain degree. And I'm liking that. It looks really cool. And as for the world design itself, it does feel like a Monster Hunter game. It really does. And I just can't wait to explore all of those different areas and see what they all look like. And knowing Capcom, they're gonna have some very pretty looking vistas, locales, areas to check out. So I am ready for that.
So, we kind of been gushing about this game the entire time. Understandable because it looks really good. But is there anything that you guys are worried about, or concerned about with this game at all? Just out of curiosity.
I'm worried that I'm really wanting to play it, but then not having enough time. It's my only concern. Like I said, I bought Iceborne, and I keep on looking at it, but I don't touch it. I'm like, why do I do this? Just play the game. You love Monster Hunter. And it's just I don't know. It's like something in my back of my mind is just saying I don't know. It's weird. I don't know.
For me, I think it's... I honestly, I just want to see more from it, because even with the 15-minute direct that they had after the partner showcase, that showed off a decent amount, but it was... I honestly feel like it wasn't enough for me to be able to say I have anything I'm worried about necessarily. It's just, I'd like to see some returning monsters of any kind. For example, I'd like to see the Giganox come back. That'd be kind of cool.
I'm actually worried about healing myself during battle, because Monster Hunter World, they finally changed it where you're not standing there like an idiot. You're able to run and drink your potion at the same time. But in Generations, it's drink. Yeah!
I was
boom! Get hit by the monster because you're just not moving.
Right? It's let me drink this potion and flex at the monster. I won't get hit.
I hate flexing ever since one. I'm why are you flexing? There is a Rathos flying, air bombing you right now. Stop that. You really had to go to a new area, heal up, then go back sometimes, just because it's that dude just has a big ego.
Yeah,
gosh,
flexing on everybody. But
so far the only thing I saw from this trailer and direct that I'm concerned about is going to be the DLC, because we have confirmation that there's going to be a deluxe version with exclusive items.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of tells me that they're going for the Monster Hunter World model, which is going to be selling aesthetic items. Monster Hunter doesn't ever sell mechanical items. Everything's just cosmetic. The thing about Capcom and Monster Hunter is they have a lot of cosmetics for sale. I did the math before this stream, and on the Steam page, if you wanted to buy all the cosmetics for World, it'll cost you $388.
That's a lot of cosmetics.
Yeah.
I only probably bought one cosmetic, but that's for the girl, and I don't know. I never think I bought cosmetics. I always felt like I earned them in the game. I never knew there was a.
They have a lot of things in the form of gestures, stickers, chats. In Iceborne, they have a lot of furniture that you could put in your house, and all of it really adds up. I just hope that
there's that. Nothing bad about that.
Yeah, I just hope they dial it back at the very least. I'm not a very big fan of DLC in games in general. I really like unlocking things in the game by playing it. So I just hope that they don't go as crazy with this title, but I have my doubts considering how popular World was. I think they're going to try and sell a lot of stuff in this game as well.
What I would hope is that even if they are selling things, have it be accessible to the player who doesn't wish to purchase it, you know? Like, I would very much like that to be a thing. Like, even if it's difficult to get those cosmetic items, still
Yeah,
have it be possible for people to get them. Because, you know,
yeah, I don't
options are
mind it
nice.
being challenging. Like, I enjoy challenges, and I enjoy getting rewarded for those challenges. It's just typically with these types of games where they last so long, you just want to kind of keep unlocking stuff. But eventually you hit a wall, and you have to kind of pull out your credit card, which is unfortunate.
I never fall into that. Like, I do like cosmetics and I do buy some cosmetics, but I never feel like I need to like get them all. It's like $300 is like I would never spend that much on cosmetics because like for me it's just like I get one cosmetic and I love that cosmetic. There should be like multiple choices, but I never feel like that is a you need to buy them all kid because they're here. It's
Yeah,
like,
same with
I
me.
don't need them. I don't need them to play the game. They're just there.
Yeah,
Like if they're not there, they're not there. If they're there, they're there. But it's just like I don't need to buy them. I'd like to buy some, but I don't need to buy them all.
that is the positive.
So
Is that they are all cosmetic and not needed to beat the game or anything like that.
Right. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
and
always a plus.
I find like doing the actual monster like fights and events or is more of like the reward because they still have cosmetics through that sense and I'm like it's more like trying for like to like actually get something that you wanted by terms of playing the game rather than pulling out your credit card. Because it's like you can get to show it off and saying like this is what I did. What did you do? It's like, oh, you pulled out your credit card? That's cool.
I fully agree.
Yeah, so like.
But yeah, I like. Oh yeah, you go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like, yeah, having more options would definitely be nice. Just and to your point about the different DLC hunts that they've had, like for example, Generations Ultimate, they have a lot of those DLC hunts where when you do finish them, you get those cosmetic items, and it always feels nice because, yeah, I accomplished something. I was able to beat these 3 incredibly difficult monsters, and I got this really cool looking themed armor, and it's awesome to have that, and it feels nice. It really does.
Yeah, Gen Ultimate had a good platform where, well, for us in the West, all the DLC was kind of available to us day one.
Right.
So you just kind of had to download it, and then you got a bunch of quests to do. And if you were able to beat those quests, you got the item.
Which was really nice. I absolutely loved that.
A lot of their things. It's just like DLC stuff to do.
Alright, so Monster Hunter Rise coming to the Switch, Monster Hunter Stories 2, which we didn't spend too much time on, but I want to quickly get your impressions of Stories 2 as we kind of wrap things up here. So, Taylor, Monster Hunter Stories 2, are you ready, hyped, not hyped? What are your impressions?
I'm all for more stuff in terms of spin-offs in the Monster Hunter world. I've never played Monster Hunter Stories. I just know that anything better than that Monster Hunter mobile app that came out earlier this year is going to be good. So I'm glad we're getting like a proper spin-off and not really kind of like a gotcha type thing.
Nice. What about you, Ben?
When I saw Monster Hunter Stories 2, I was like, the waifu version of Monster Hunter. It's going to be a boy thing. I was like seeing all the girls and just like, waifus. Everybody's gonna be simping over this game. But I'm interested to see more of it and see how it plays. Like I said, I never I buy on my phone for stories. I haven't really delved too much into it. Because if I did, I'll probably have more of like, I wonder what this is gonna happen. This it does seem like a different story, maybe, than 2, but I don't know. I wouldn't know because I haven't played the first story. But it looks nice. I like um the art style of it compared to like the normal Monster Hunter games. It like looks more cute and shitty, but yeah, it looks beautiful.
All right, yeah. And so essentially, I'm looking forward to stories, at least to see a bit more about it. I'm still on the fence. I'm not sure if I want to pick it up or not, but we'll see. Then, so final thoughts. Monster Hunter Rise. Are you guys picking it up, Taylor?
Day one. Like, I have no excuse not to pick it up.
All right.
Really excited to see it on the Switch. I hope that I'm pretty sure they're gonna have region-free online this time. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate didn't, but Oral did, and I think they're gonna follow through with that.
That'd be cool.
So, pretty excited for that.
That'd be awesome. Ben, what about you?
Maybe. I feel like I don't deserve to buy any more Monster Hunter games until I beat Iceborne. And Stories 2, I feel like I need to beat Stories 1 before that, because it's just like, I'm not going to buy all these games and just have them collecting virtual dust or actual dust. So, yeah, it's like I need to beat Iceborne, because that's still a Monster Hunter game I still need to play. And yeah, I don't deserve to play the next iteration until I beat those games.
All right, and as for me, I'm pretty much right there with you, Taylor. I want to get this game day one, play it, have fun, enjoy myself, because Monster Hunter, oh my gosh. And I'm probably just going to, later today, probably play some Generations Ultimate, just for the sake of it, because it's been a while since I played that myself. And yeah, but to anyone who's listening right now, what are your thoughts on Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter Stories 2? Let us know in the comment section below. But that's going to be it for us. I will catch you guys later.
Alright, see ya.
See ya.
Out of your mind. Step out of your